Good evening and welcome to the Maxwell Family Chiropractic Wellness Way Magic of the Week. And just want to share some excitement with you today. If you'll see in the description box, it's not just another Manic Monday here. Honestly, it's another Magic Monday. And I love coming in on Mondays, especially after just relaxing over the weekend. I hope you guys get to relax as well. But I want to run through some things with you today that just really got me pumped up about being able to bring the Wellness Way and the We Don't Guess, We Test model to you guys. Last week on Thursday night, we had a phenomenal showing for our inflammation talk. And if you haven't been, let's get on, sign up and get to the next one, because it is not only life-changing, but it is transformational. And we're going to challenge your thinking in a lot of ways. And we just encourage you to get there, bring a friend. We put in the description box the ability for you to click on that link and get your tickets, get your friends' tickets, and you can also like and share that with your friends. So we encourage you to do that. I got a list of things that we're going to go through today, so I don't want to miss them. So I want to share with you a little bit about a case we did this morning. We did a lab read. So once we gather all this testing information, we want to bring a patient in and go over what we found. And so as we went through her foods, we went through an advanced cardio panel, we had a stool test, and what we call a Dutch test. So this particular lady, we had a lot going on that we needed to go through with her, and she'd been just not well for a while. And one of the interesting things that, as I've talked with some of the coaches from Green Bay and doctors up there, one of the things we like to do is keep it simple. Some of you are a little overwhelmed by some of the testing that's involved, but again, the more we know about your function, the more we can figure out where those triggers are so we can eliminate that. So some of the things she'd been struggling with was just fatigue, a lot of irritable bowel type symptoms, and she knew that she was inflamed. She says, is this going to explain why I continue to just keep kind of bloating up? And you could see that this individual definitely had, kind of that insulin-resistant metabolic syndrome going on in the waist. And so as we went through and began to investigate into her situation, we really found that her foods and her gut were the two biggest triggers that her body was stressed out about. And as a result of that inflammation that was taking place in her gut, it was definitely robbing her body's ability to really make some of those hormones for her body downstream. So we also began to see how that was affecting her adrenal glands. So as we began to describe how inflammation affects all of those things, it was like a light bulb went off, and she said, man, this describes me to a T. And what was of greater concern was how this long-term inflammation was beginning to affect her cardiovascularly. So she had 3 or 4 of the inflammatory markers we're looking at in that cardio panel that really, needed to be addressed. And so we were excited to get her on the right track today, and we had all the evidence right there to show what needed to be removed from her body so that we could begin to rebuild. So again, if you have any questions about that, come to one of our inflammation seminars so you can know how to begin that process right away. Now, probably the most exciting thing that happened to me today was we actually started with a new patient, young lady in her early 20s and is married. And as we began to discuss some things that were going on in her situation, she just came in for chiropractic care today. And she brought in, some old films, gave me a little bit of some history, and showed her how there was some inflammation in her digestive system. Just some x-rays of her low back had the outline of the colon and the small intestine. You could see inflammation in there. So I began to probe and ask some questions. And, being that age, being married, I said, just curious, are you on any medication in regard to birth control? And I said, this is, one major hormone disruptor for females, and it does interrupt what's going on with the overall biome of the gut. And we can see on your x-ray here, you've got a lot of inflammation there. And she said, honestly, I've never been on the pill. I mean, I literally got up out of my seat and high-fived this young lady because I was so thrilled that she had never, ever been on the pill. And she had done so by choice because she was convicted, had some beliefs that she stood firm on. And I was like, well, good for you, because that's the best thing you could be doing for your young female body as you potentially look to have a family one day. So that was really exciting to me because, just last week I shared a case, maybe in our inflammation talk, how a young lady had been introduced to that before going to college, and it began to just interrupt a lot of things in her system. And so, we put this information out there for you guys because, again, if you were at the talk Thursday night, what is it that we're trying to create? We're trying to create a culture not only within the office but out in the community where you guys can challenge your thinking. You can come and be with like-minded doctors, like-minded friends, family that are going to push you in a direction towards normal health, getting back to normal. And so that's why we put this information out there, so that you don't have to weed through all the junk, but we give you access to this so that you can make better informed decisions. So if you have questions about the pill and how that can alter your hormones and your body's ability to function normal, please continue to follow us on Facebook. We put out live videos. I know Nicole Selesky puts out a lot of great information in regard to infertility, and I think just had a live video in regard to the pills. So we'll make sure that we share that again on our Facebook page. And last but not least, again, another individual we were taking care of today with infertility issues. And last of all, I had an older gentleman, probably in his late 50s, early 60s, been on thyroid medication for 15 years. Again, begin to just share again the culture we're trying to bring about here at the Wellness Way. And sure enough, been on levothyroxine, never had his adrenals tested. His weight is an issue, and the newest thing that's come into play is anxiety. And so, if you begin to study inflammation and you look up, all the things that affects, anxiety is a big one, atrial fibrillation, the list goes on and on. Inflammation is bad if you haven't guessed it. And one thing you're going to continue to hear within the culture of the Wellness Way is inflammation. Where is it? What does it come from? And how do we get rid of it? So again, if you've never been to one of our inflammation talks on Thursday night, I highly encourage you to be there. It will literally change your life, change your health going forward. So appreciate all of you guys who joined us tonight. And please, again, like and share these videos. We appreciate that help that you give us in getting this message out and helping us, again, to create the culture of like minds, like belief, being able to no longer guess but test so we can get you on the right path to health. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you later this week. Make it a great night.